Whenever you're ready.
Oh my God.
Jessica! I've never been called a fox!
Dana.
That's a classy name for a Harry.
I like it classic.
Okay.
Do you?
Welcome to the Rants and Raves podcast.
Sure.
Out with the bad and in with the good, motherfuckers.
That's right.
Jessica.
Dana.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm okay. Welcome to the Rants and Raves podcast. I am Dana Powell.
I'm Jessica Young.
And
we are here to rant and rave.
Sorry, that was a little less than enthusiastic. We're still sort of trying to heal from a few things and get up to speed. But Jessica, it's really, really lovely to at least digitally see your face and hear your voice.
Same.
I've missed you very much.
I miss you too.
I guess just to start off with, most of you who are listeners probably know, but if you're just popping in on this episode, sorry about it. I unexpectedly lost my mama about 3 weeks ago now, which is crazy to say. Can you believe how fast time has gone? I sort of walked into this living nightmare, and when I thought I was going to be able to come out of it, the world was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say right off the bat, I'm not going to get too deep into anything, but I am going to, share a little bit about my experience and what I'm grateful for. So if that might trigger anybody, you may want to skip this episode. And also, there's a lot going on in the world. And I certainly do not speak for me and Jessica. I only speak for myself. We are not a political podcast, but I feel like because of what I do and who I am and what my firm beliefs are, I do just want to say Black Lives Matter. I don't understand what's going on. All of the things that we've seen coming up, I can say as a woman who appears to be white, which I'm actually have Mexican heritage, and maybe we can talk later about how I realized I may be way less white than I thought. I haven't had a person of color's experience. And so therefore, I think I've thought that it was okay to stay out of it and let them handle this problem for themselves because it was disrespectful of me to get in on it. And I think what I've learned through what's happening in our world right now is that I do believe personally for me that silence is equal to violence, especially because of the platform that I hold, that am so lucky to have. So I just want to say that I stand, and I believe Jessica agrees with me, with the Black Lives Matter movement.
100%.
Enough is enough. I can never experience or understand the life experience that a person of color has had, but I can listen and I can learn and I can grow and I can try my best to help make a difference. And I think that's one jumping off point I kind of want to say. I have made it very clear. I've always been very open about the fact that I have a lot of anxiety surrounding actual protests and marches. That's not how I am able, I feel, to use my voice best because I have a fear surrounding it, whether it's logical or not. It just is. And I've always been very open about that. So for those of us who do have that issue, there are many, many ways that we can speak out. For me, this is one way I can. And like I said, we're not a political podcast. We're not going to continue talking about this. I'm just making a quick statement. But if you follow me personally, I have posted things. That is my belief. And I'm very lucky to have a platform where I can share information. And I hope that we can all learn and grow from this. And I'm doing the research, and I hope you are too. And I think both of Jessica and I, if you don't know where to go, I was just back home for a while, and the talk is not as open about these kinds of things as it is where we live in Los Angeles. So if you're in a place where you don't know how to find resources and what to look for and what to read and how to grow, reach out. We're happy to recommend. We have so many amazing people in our lives that have access and knowledge to these sorts of things. So I just want to put that out there. I also want to say Jessica, I'm just running all over you. I'm sorry.
Please, no.
A lot of life in these last 4 months.
You sure have.
I had an experience on the drive home from laying my mother to rest. I had a couple of experiences, actually. It was a very traumatic drive across country. This is a weird time in the world right now. People feel lost, people feel broken, people feel alone, and everyday life is still trying to happen as best as it can. I witnessed a young woman try to take her life by jumping. She was ready to jump off a bridge as we were driving by at like 85 miles an hour. We just screamed and stopped, and I called the sheriff, and another man was talking her down, and she was okay when we left. But I just want to say, if you are feeling alone, if you're feeling like you don't know what to do and you don't matter here, you do. It's okay, and ask for help. There's so much help out there. It's not weakness, it's strength to ask for help. And the mental health awareness. I mean, it's Gay Pride Month. Like, there's just so much right now. I just want people to know they are loved. I was blown away by the outpouring of love I received from all of our listeners, from all of our friends, from people who don't even know me. I'm so grateful and thankful, and I want to give that back. So if you're struggling in any way with anything, we're here. We may be wackadoos, but we'll love you.
We'll listen to you.
Yeah. So,
and I want to throw this in really quick, just because Dana mentioned that, and it is something that is always an important issue. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800-273-8255. It is free to call. I know people personally who have worked for groups that are under this umbrella in cities across the U.S. It is free, and people will help you and help you get the resources that you need.
Yes. And it's so easy to feel alone and like nobody cares. You know, I had this tragic experience, and like people came out of the woodwork. Like, you don't realize how loved you are. And I think that goes for everybody. I think we get so mired down in day-to-day life and struggles that we can't see or feel the love. But I'm telling you, it's there. It's really there.
It is.
Everyone. So anyway, Jessica, how are you?
I'm, I feel like a creep saying what's wrong with me, but but you hit all of the points. I don't think, regardless of where people are in their life, where they live, whether they're people who are completely alone, as a lot of my friends are single and live alone, or people that are in a house with 8 other people, everyone is struggling. This has been the weirdest year, at least of our generation's lifetime. And I'm, putting like a 20-year parentheses up from like our age to people younger and even older than that. But so many things have happened, and it's okay to be upset. I think everyone has been scared multiple times, if not regularly. That is okay. And we just have to keep checking in with people and doing the best that we can, meaning being able to get through your day and doing what you can for yourself. Self-care has never been more important. And if you take care of yourself, which is something I have to try to remind myself for on a daily basis, then you can help take care of others, right? It's very hard, but like everybody needs, and a lot of people don't get that opportunity right now. I have 2 friends that gave birth the minute COVID hit the fan. And I can't imagine being home with a newborn nonstop for the last 3 months with nobody being allowed to come in and help.
No visitors.
Yes. It's crazy. And I feel selfish. I mean, I was crying because one of my closest friends in the world had a baby, and I was crying because I haven't been able to hold her baby. I mean, I felt like such a selfish creep for saying that, but I meant it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I've been looking forward to this baby like it's my own. I mean, it's crazy. So, yeah. And it's also to touch on like things and the resources. Please do reach out. Dana and I both have amazing people in our life that have put so much out there that we are now aware of. We really would love to share that with you. And again, weeks ago I was saying like, okay, I'm trying to like support somewhere local. You couldn't really do it with stores, so I was trying to do it with restaurants, and I'm a foodie. Hello.
Yeah.
But this was really something that made me really happy. And I want to give a quick shout out to 2 local LA restaurants. One is one of my dear friends since childhood owns a restaurant called Little Beast in an area called Eagle Rock. And he has been closed down completely. They did not have the means or the capacity to do to-go orders for the majority of quarantine. They just had come back for exactly 1 week, and then everything started with the protests and lots of hotbed areas around town. Well, he was coming back again, 1 week open. What did he do the day that the protest started? He gave all proceeds from that entire day of sales to the NAACP. So you better believe that I told Alan, my husband, I'm like, we are ordering food from him and then even a little extra. And we're going to go because we can support them. And I'm so happy he's open, but it's giving to that cause. Another restaurant, which is in Highland Park, another area of LA that if you're in the LA area, I can't recommend enough. It's called Hippo. And the owner is the former executive chef of Mozza. Okay.
Oh, yummy. That's actually one I've been to, only because a job took me there. But I was like, wow, this is what I miss out on. I want to be rich.
Hippo, actually, I think I've probably talked about, is the place that I got the cocktail pack to go.
Yes.
So Hippo, 2 days in a row, gave all of their proceeds to Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. So these are people, this is not to shame anyone or make you think you have to financially do, but I'm telling you, we all have to eat, right? So I'm like, oh, I can order food from this place and they're struggling to come back from a quarantine closure and they're giving their money to another group. That to me is so heartwarming and so generous and so thoughtless. What am I saying? Thoughtful. Oh my God, y'all. Somebody help me. So I just wanted to say, look for that because there are lots of companies around right now that are like, if you buy anything from them, they're giving a percentage of their proceeds to. One of them is an organization that offers counseling and therapy to African-American women and young girls. There's a million things. Just keep your eye on the prize, if you will. Look for ways that we can all help one another.
Absolutely. And there's so many different, it doesn't have to be like the big ones that people always think about.
Right.
I learned about Black Girls Code, which is a program for for young women of color to get into more tech. And you can find 1,000,001 things that are really special and cool and necessary.
Totally.
There are also a lot of comedians and entertainers doing different things to raise money. I've talked on the podcast before. One of my favorite podcasts is our friend Gareth Reynolds.
Yes.
And his friend Dave Anthony, called The Dollop. And Gareth is such a funny human being. So last Thursday, he does these things on Thursday nights, if you follow him, called Gare Riffs, where he just improvises stand-up. And he's hilarious. And he said, you can donate if you want this week while watching my riffs, and he ended up making, I think it was $5,800 and some odd dollars. And then he matched it. So he doubled that. And there are a lot of people doing things like that.
I love that.
It can also be selfless giving is wonderful, but how great is it that their giving came with a laugh?
Right.
And, your giving came with a great cocktail pack.
Right.
And, there's so many ways out there, I guess.
Yes, totally.
And also my last soapbox before we get into our rants, we are still in a pandemic, guys. Let's not get eased or unfocused because there are terrible things happening everywhere. Let's remember this is still a pandemic. My hometown, the county that I come from, Greene County, is a hotbed for COVID right now. I just read a thing that, Florida's having a huge resurgence. Yesterday they had 2,300 and some new cases. That's a lot of people. This is still an issue. Now, here's where my soapbox comes. I don't like wearing a mask. I really don't. I don't know too many people who do.
Okay.
But it's little to ask to maybe protect you, maybe protect the people around you. Does it matter really? But if I'm wearing a mask for you, Can you wear a mask for me?
Correct.
Can you wear a mask for my father, who on June 22nd is having heart surgery for the second time? And I don't want to lose him. He can't get sick. Can you just wear a damn mask when you go to the store so that I can keep my daddy safe, so that I can get him through this surgery and still have one parent for as long as I can? Can you do it for the babies like Baker who wouldn't have a shot at fighting this?
Right.
It's airborne. You can't see it, but it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And it would take someone like Baker or my father or my grandmother down so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I will wear a mask for you. Will you please wear a mask for us?
Yes.
That's my last soapbox for today.
Well, it's also a very important point to make in general, because the more that I read about it, it doesn't work unless everyone's wearing the masks.
Right.
So I've been compliant everywhere I go. But if somebody isn't and they have COVID and I'm wearing a mask, that can be even more dangerous to me. It only works when everyone's preventing their droplets from becoming airborne.
Yeah. And listen, nobody is saying that this is the answer.
Right.
And, I hear a lot of people go, well, if it's your time to go, it's your time to go. Okay, well, I ain't in no hurry. And God gave me a brain to know that when scientists say, hey, it's probably better if you wear a mask, I'm going to wear it.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So anyway, we're still in a pandemic, guys. This is still a worldwide problem. So let's just be mindful, I guess.
Exactly. Yes.
Ooh, that was a lot. That was 17 minutes and 20 seconds of heavy.
All very important.
Very important.
Yep.
And I just want to reiterate how grateful I am for you and for our listeners and for what this show has brought to my life and what it, I think, puts out into the world. I hope.
We all love you. You had everyone behind you and you still do. And I've missed you so much. And let the tears fly and the laughs out of the box, because
there we go.
It's all good.
It's time for a rant, Jessica. The first rant, I think I'm up first, right?
Yes.
So our first rant is from a listener, and it's regarding job hunting, which I think this is very apropos right now because there are a lot of people out of work trying to figure out how to get jobs. My dear, dear friend, Krista Marie, who, while still in mourning herself after losing, remember we talked about her little niece, Caitlin, who was diagnosed with Rett syndrome when she was very young, and she just passed away in March. That woman packed herself in my car while she was in mourning, went through the entire funeral experience with me and my family, and then drove back with me. She is amazing.
She's a saint.
Yeah, a saint. But she just moved back to LA right when COVID was hitting.
Yep.
Now she can't get an apartment without a job, and she can't get a job in COVID age.
Right.
That's not like something where she would make more money on unemployment.
Right.
It's such a crazy position that people are in right now.
Totally.
This was an interesting letter. Okay, this person says, "Hi, ladies. I love you both, and thank you for making me laugh and giving me something to look forward to every week." So I have a rant that's probably pretty relatable right now. Definitely relatable right now. It's about motherfucking job hunting, the most god-awful part of adulthood. I think that might be true. It's a terrible part of being an adult. I know many others was laid off from a job I love due to the pandemic. I truly loved this job and I'm heartbroken, but I'm trying to move on. So I've gotten to the point where I'm ready to start job hunting. My main issue is, why the fuck, when you go to apply to a job, does it ask for your resume and then proceed to make you type up everything again in little boxes? Why? It's all right there in a cute little one-page package for your reviewing pleasure. Then you either never get contacted or you get that lovely rejection email that they've decided to move forward with other candidates. It's very discouraging and it's hard to keep your confidence up. I want to share some resources for other listeners who are in the same boat and may need help. I thought this was so awesome. I've been in this boat a few times. Indeed is probably my favorite since a lot of jobs will let you apply with 1 or 2 clicks. And companies often message you right on the app. Okay, so she must have.
Indeed.com, I think is what it is.
Okay, I haven't had like a regular real person job for a long time, so I'm not aware. I have a weird life. Indeed.com, okay, is probably my favorite since a lot of jobs will let you apply with 1 or 2 clicks, and companies often message you right on the app. That's where I got my last 2 jobs. Oh, wow, that's encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar on ZipRecruiter, but you get a ton of those scam companies that try to bring you in with high salaries listed. So I guess ZipRecruiter has a lot of scammy kind of things. In her opinion, it comes up a lot more. Glassdoor is another good one. It gives you reviews of the company from employees as well as salaries and interview questions.
Ooh, I like that.
Me too. These are just my favorites. I'm sure there are many others. So I just want to say real quick, if anybody else has any things that you want to recommend for that, we can always make a list and post that. So lastly, she says, I have to briefly rave about all our heroes because it can't be said enough how incredible these essential workers are. Indeed. Anyway, wish me luck on this journey. I'm trying to stay positive and hopeful, but we all know there are good days and bad. We will all get through this. I love that. She's right.
Mm-hmm.
She's right. I think with everything, there's good days and bad. And I think
Totally.
sometimes we get caught up in this, like you kind of mentioned earlier, of like, everything's got to be happy. Everything's got to be positive. We've talked before about how positivity can actually be damaging, you know? So yes, we have to keep a positive attitude. We have to keep hope. But sometimes, some days we're just not okay.
Right.
And that's okay.
Absolutely.
This is a rough time to be looking for a job.
So rough. I mean, obviously, one of the things that people do need, essential jobs are in demand. Big shocker, right? Yeah. But also people got sick in some of the essential jobs, right? I mean, I'm just being honest. Our friend that's a nurse practitioner had several nurses on her team, couldn't work because they got COVID. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Grocery employees, things like that. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anyone does with this whole new world. One of my many jobs, we won't be returning for the year. I think I may or may not have known that at the time when we recorded last, but we're working from home, but we can because of the type of work that we do. Right. Not everyone can do that. Every job cannot be online and from a computer from wherever you're setting up shop at home. You know what I mean? And again, my heart goes out to people I know, like one of my coworkers who's a single mom and worked full time and has a 2-year-old, and the school, the preschool is shut down, daycare is shut down, and she cannot work and be on a telephone and speak to customers when there's a 2-year-old at home.
Absolutely.
It's literally impossible. It's not a matter of like people not liking it or it not being ideal. Alan and I have started, we call it like digital babysitting. We have story time with our nieces in Canada.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. To offer, I mean, it's all we can do, but for 1 hour, they sit the kids. We have nieces in 2 different homes. They get sat down with mom or dad's tablet and they're watching us be silly with them and read them stories so that their parents can have 1 hour uninterrupted for a conference call or to get some work done, because as everyone knows, everybody's been homeschooling their children.
Oh, yeah.
And then a lot of people are having to work on top of that. So,
yeah. And then also there are some jobs where you're like, my friends who are nurses and have children, worried about what they're bringing home to their children,
Yes.
Also
a lot of nurses can't go home right now. They're being quarantined from their families.
To say. So, people, Dan Tipton, my husband, he's ramping up to get ready to start the film that was already supposed to be shooting.
Right.
And we're waiting to hear if he's going to have to be quarantined for us for the duration of the shoot. So, and that's not like, what do you feel comfortable with, sir? That's job. That's
right.
Like, no, they're going to tell us what we're going to do, and that's like, holy cow. He's tried his hardest to stay in town so that we could be a family. And now even in town, he may have to be quarantined from us.
Yep.
There's all these extenuating circumstances right now that make an already hard situation even harder. Yep. And I do want to also validate her, even though I don't have like real, well, my job is real, but it's different
Yes.
than other jobs. But when I have to fill out resume stuff and you've had to do it too, Jessica,
Mhm.
Casting Frontier, all that stuff,
Mhm.
we have to submit our paper resumes
Mhm.
and then we have to type it out
Yes.
piece by piece again into
Mhm.
the little boxes
Mhm.
that she is
Mhm.
talking about. And it is absolutely infuriating because there are three main
Yes.
websites
And you
that
have to
we
do it
have
on
to do
each
it on
one.
every single one.
I hate it.
So dumb. She's not wrong. We gave it to you. So
Yes.
pretty. So pretty. We learned how to format that when we were in school. And then we
Okay.
Googled it again when we were old because we couldn't remember what was proper format. Can you just take it and not make us type out for hours in the tiniest boxes that
Mhm.
ever existed?
Or try to write in them.
Oh, God. It really is crazy. It's like there should be some sort of thing for them to say, no, you give us your resume. We got what we need.
Mhm.
And also, she's right. What, Jessica, I have a question.
Mhm.
What is worse, the nice rejection garbage or not hearing anything?
I would rather be told, even if it was a second later or a week later, that I don't get something or that I wasn't the right fit or whatever, than to always wonder a million wonders.
Okay, I agree with you. Second question. Do you think it deserves a phone call?
You know what? It just depends. Like, from being on both sides of it and being someone who's had to hire people, which I despise, I've never liked being in management ever. Somehow that's what I've done for a million years. I don't like it. I will never like it. Okay. I don't like managing people. I don't want to tell people what to do. I don't want to monitor your productivity, any of that. Some
I would
people are made for it. I hate it.
Oh, boy.
Okay. I think I maybe also have said this, but I got in trouble at anthropology because I wouldn't write people up. They're like, you sure are quick to praise people when they do something right, but you won't write someone up when they're late. And I'm like, yeah, the employee that has the gumption to take initiative and do a whole bunch of stuff and be incredible with our customers, but is 5 minutes late on most days.
I think
I don't feel.
right.
I don't feel like writing them up. Okay.
Guess what, anthropology is in trouble, mister. If you haven't heard about that, it's Googleable. Is in trouble, anthropology.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I would not like that position either. I would
No.
not. But I was like, I hear what she's saying. You know that it's just a copy and paste letter you're getting. I'm like, is a phone call because it is a little bit demoralizing, right?
I don't want the phone, but that's just
You
me.
don't want it?
I want to know yes or no,
Right.
but I feel like the phone call
Is it too
could be
personal?
it's too personal and it could be really, really awkward. I will say on the flip side, I did have a casting director call me once to tell me I didn't get the job, which I cannot tell you how much I appreciated. And I was it's only happened once
Yeah.
for me. Okay. I was so taken aback and so pleasantly shocked. And then she even told me who they gave the job to. And she said, I thought you should know that. So you should know what great company you were in. You did a great job.
Of talent.
And I was like, what?
Yeah. I mean, that
But
must have felt nice in some ways.
it was for the first time ever. I was like, oh, I didn't get it, but holy crap, this woman validated me. I didn't just feel like another number like we do a million times.
Yeah, that's what. And I guess when I think about going to get a job, I've never been in a large corporate world in a big city. So I guess, like a friend of mine was saying she is supposed to be starting with the temp pool at UCLA Health. And she was like, yeah, they had to cut back a bunch of jobs. There's
Right.
like 396 jobs available right now. And I was like, 396? And she's like, no, but before there were like 800 jobs.
Yeah.
So I've never been in a big pool like that. I guess if you have thousands of people applying for a job, you can't call everybody.
Right.
I'm like, well, that time that I worked at the framing shop in Springfield on Gladstone Pelican Gallery, I felt like there's a big difference between that and like, I don't know, Condé Nast where you worked,
Wait, did you work at like where you framed art and stuff?
Oh yeah, I didn't do any of this,
Amazing.
but I worked there. Yeah, but she hated me though.
Oh.
Yeah, she really hated me.
I was going to say, if times get really tough, you could apply at a place that I could walk to from my apartment called Feeling Famous.
Oh boy.
I'm not joking.
I believe you. You know what? Can I tell you one of the major things that sucked about working at that place? I
What?
saw a beautiful framing accoutrement. Is that what
Yes,
you say?
sure.
Beautiful. And I saw how they did the matting. Like I didn't even understand
Mm-hmm.
matting before that, all of that. Saw these beautiful things. There wasn't anything I could have ever afforded. I couldn't afford for them to do
I
a
know.
printer beside a picture I owned because it's so expensive.
You know what? I'm going to tell you this for anybody that's local, and you have to try to find it in your own towns. But there's a framer that I use for work called Frugal Fills. Like I bring clients' art to it. They're phenomenal. It's hands down. I'm not saying there isn't some outrageously expensive framing options. There are.
Right.
But by and large, they are the most reasonable, hence the name Frugal Fills. But honestly, they're great. And framing is not cheap. And
No,
it's because there's a lot of elements to it.
you don't realize.
Yeah, even if you don't mat, which not everything, but almost everything looks better with matting. It does.
So nice.
There's
Yeah.
even reverse bevels if you have a pastel, so that as the chalk falls, which it just inherently does over time, it cannot fall on the bevel and look crappy and make your mat dirty. It falls behind it. They reverse it. Okay.
I only understood like 37. That sounds super impressive.
Oh my God. But also, I don't know why I'm trying to educate our listeners on the importance of framing. If you have artwork, whether it's a photograph or an expensive painting or a print or anything, and it is anywhere that is going to be hit by natural light at even if it's across the room, but you have windows in that room, you want to get UV coated glass or plexi. If you have a huge piece, you want to go with plexi, especially in earthquake country, in case it falls. Then you won't have, glass all over your hallway or your living
Yes.
room. There's so
I
many
never thought of
factors to it.
UV.
Yes,
That
because
makes sense though.
it can break down stuff and ruin the art over time. It devalues it. If it's a picture, you know how bad that is when it fades.
Yes.
Do you really want to have to pay through the nose for a photo to be restored?
No.
So get some UV protection on your art, Dana.
Wow.
The next time you're feeling famous.
Frame it gross. Well, I'll tell you what kind of framing I have done. Somebody just did a little retail therapy because she got some surprise money from some old job that aired somewhere in Spain.
I love it.
And bought herself a Polaroid zip mini printer.
What? I'm so jealous.
It was $88, and I have printed 2 pictures, and I'm already feel like it's paid for. I love all the framing options. I love the filters. I love that I don't have to do anything to it. And I love that I just, from my phone, go print this, bitch. And I have a beautiful little picture in my hands.
So wait a minute. Is it an app that you take the pictures through, or you can take any picture right now from your phone and print it out?
You can also, if you want, you can hook it to your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, your Google Photos, or whatever photo streaming option you have, iCloud, whatever you want. You can hook it to that so you can pull anything at any time from any of those.
I love it.
Zip print it. I don't know why it brought me so much happiness.
No, I love that.
It. Yeah.
I've always wanted one of those. I'm serious.
Well, and me too. And I have this rule, like if there's something that I think is a little frivolous or may cost a little more than I wanted to pay, if I want it and I can't stop thinking about it, then I'll go back and get it. And this I've been looking at since Christmas. And I was like, you know what? I deserve a little happiness right now.
Yes.
And so I bought that thing and I love it. And I
love that you got that.
I'm having fantasies about like when we get to be people again and hanging out and like, oh, let me take a picture of you. And like we do. But then secretly I print out a picture and I tuck it in your purse so you find it later.
I
That's
love
my
it.
fantasy right now.
Also, I'm not just saying this to make you feel better. That is not a frivolous purchase at all. And I've said this for years. Before we became digital and before we had the ability to take pictures on our phone, even since I've lived in LA in our younger years when we started out at Improv Olympic,
Right.
I used to bring my little camera in my purse. Okay. We didn't
Yes.
have social media, we didn't have cameras on our phone yet.
No.
I would run. And when I say run, if there was a 24-hour place, I don't care if it was 1 a.m. I would drop off my film and I would want it back at 8 a.m. the next day. When we had
Hilarious.
any time that I finished a roll of film, I immediately had it developed. I always got doubles so I could give,
Yes.
like, here,
Yes.
Dana, you can have this picture of us and I can have a copy, right?
Yes.
I always hated it for all those duds that were in there. There'd always be at least 2, if not 5, where it was like blurred or it was like the edge of a building instead of a person's face. But we don't print anymore.
No.
We all have tens of thousands. I am telling you, I know for a fact I have over 100,000 digital photos. Do
Oh,
you
me
think I
too.
have printed even one? No, I haven't.
I'm so behind. I try to do like, what are some of the ones?
Photo books.
I've done photo books from different places, especially when they offer some kind of sale or whatever.
Yeah, that's
And
smart.
I never regret it. And I also get multiple copies because you can get the cheap little paper ones for
Yes.
like $7 to
Yes.
give to the grandparents and stuff. And
They love it.
let me just tell you, as someone who just had a big loss, going through all of the pictures
Mhm.
together was so lovely and so
Totally.
healing
Mhm.
and such a moment of bonding. And now I have several pictures of my mama and I just around my room that I just didn't before because it was all
Right.
digital. Those are precious to me.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to print your pictures, people. Make photo books for your kids
Mhm.
because flipping through that is way different than doing it on a digital device. It just
Totally.
really is.
I always used to say this to customers when I actually worked in retail and I wasn't BSing. When people are like, I don't know what to get someone in general or for the person that has everything, I don't care how old they are, who they are, what the occasion is. I'm like, buy a beautiful frame and print a picture for them. Either a lovely picture of you with that person, or if it's a grandparent of their grandkids, or mom and her sister, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Tell me anyone that would not love getting a picture.
Oh my
Okay.
God. One time for my birthday, my former writing partner, Paul, for my birthday, he had taken a picture of my dad's home. And, you know, those of you who know me know the pride we have. My dad's house is beautiful. He built it. It's
Mhm.
gorgeous. It's on beautiful land. Like, we're so lucky. He worked his entire life for that house, right? So he took this amazing photo from the back of the house. So you see the full house. The
Mhm.
sunset is behind it. His pond happened to be full, so the reflection of the house and the house lights is in the pond. He had that blown up and he framed it himself. It is so precious to me. I can't even tell
Mhm.
you. I was like, this might be one of the best birthday presents I've ever got. Like, it was so meaningful to me.
Absolutely.
You know, that's just a picture of a house, but it was
Right.
my daddy's house. And he
Exactly.
built it and it was beautiful. Like, you have no idea the power of what you giving someone one of their own pictures
Right.
is, you know, like our friend Candace Brown, sometimes walks dogs and
Mhm.
she would have clients sometimes that would lose their fur babies and she would make them a little photo book or send them a framed photo of their doggy and they
Aw,
loved it.
of course.
You know, it really is meaningful. Print our pictures. We got to print our pictures.
Exactly. And send someone a picture in the mail.
Mhm.
Surprise them.
Yeah. Or
Or a drawing.
draw what you think they look like and send it to them.
Okay. This is a perfect segue because I don't want to spend a lot of time on my rant anyways because I'm in a good mood now and I don't feel like being back in a bad mood.
Oh, I know your rant was one from
I'm going to make it real quick.
Okay.
But I don't know why I'm pointing again behind me like any of you can see this.
I can see.
Dana and one of our favorite listeners and friends of the show from Sweet and Salty Stitches.
Yes, check her out if you haven't.
So I think you guys maybe remember me talking about how I purchased one of her beautiful hand embroidered samplers, if you will. I know that's what you call a needle point. I don't know that it's a sampler, but it's an embroidery in a hoop.
Yeah,
and it
very
says,
cute.
"Wash your hands, you filthy animal."
It's so cute.
Well, she took Dana's drawing of me, which I posted of a rage walk that is so coveted. Dana drew me on a rage walk, sans hand and feet, which, by the way, my favorite thing is that so many people that have commented on it have said, did she draw you without hands and feet? I'm like, yep, and it's perfect.
I
And they
can't
love
draw.
it.
That's the point. My whole series is called I Can't Draw DP 2020.
Well, she included that on the embroidery, and it made my head explode.
Amazing. She sent me a picture of it before you knew it was coming, and my mind was blown.
I died. She took Dana's drawing and watercolored the linen, embroidered over it, and then she even stitched I can't draw dash DP. It's the best.
It's insanely amazing.
Oh my God, I love it so hard.
And then you got more love.
And then I got another listener, Ellis. I cannot thank you enough. He drew me. I'm a big sucker for like pencil and line drawings that people just like think they're just scribbling with a pen or pencil. I think they're insane and they're always so detailed.
Like he legit drew you. He didn't draw you.
My husband saw it and said, oh my God, that looks exactly like you. And he drew one of my Rage Walk pictures. And then I wrote to him and I said, can I please have a copy of this? And he said, what? He goes, I've never had much confidence in my drawing. I was just messing around.
I don't know why. It was incredible.
I said, exactly. I was freaking out. He goes, I'm so flattered that you like it. You can just have it. And then by God, in the mail a week later, here's my amazing drawing.
So cool. I love that you got so much love.
I love it. And I'm going to frame it. That seems like the most narcissistic thing. Like, I'm going to frame this art I got of myself. It's all a joke. It's all in jest. And it's all in the name of Rage Walk. And I love it. And
it's beautiful. All the things that you got. Well, my thing was just for funsies.
That's getting framed too. Okay.
I was really on a roll. I was really like in a zone and creating a lot and getting better and learning new techniques. And I kind of got thrown for a loop. I did do my first drawing a couple of days ago and I like what I drew, but I thought, well, it might not be time for me yet. I would say that my drawings were not particularly happy. I'll share this. We can share this too. Because I didn't want to share it on my personal because I didn't want people to think that I was reaching out, like that I was in need. This was just how I felt at the moment. And I don't feel like that every moment. But I also think it's really relevant to let people know that sometimes our hearts just hurt and it's okay. So I drew this. This is kind of just a weird version of me with my heart in my hand and it's bleeding and it says it hurts again today.
I love that.
So that was my first kind of getting back into it. And, it felt good because I feel like exploring this creative side of me is something that my mama always wanted to do and never really did. So I think it's going to help me heal as well.
I think it's awesome. Yes, because didn't you say your mother was an amazing painter?
Yes, she was. And she never thought she was. My sisters are both incredible artists and they don't think they are. And that's what I was going to say. Ellis thinks this drawing of you was like, just whatever. No, it's incredible.
It's amazing. I'm going to post it. So again, if you're not already following us on social media at the Rants and Raves podcast on Facebook and Instagram, we don't care about Twitter. We never did. Okay. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
And we can talk to you and stuff. Like we're active on there. Good stuff. Yeah, we'll definitely share that stuff.
And my dad, I don't even know if I had talked to you about it since he got it. My dad lost his mind when he got his excuse me drawing.
I'm so glad.
Oh my God. He was so tickled by it. You have no idea.
And then I drew him a little picture of Lulu. Like, I love Lulu.
He went crazy. He's like, I can't believe she knows about little Lulu. She drew it perfectly.
It's interesting, we had talked on the show before, and I thought about this when I was in the midst of laying my mom to rest and being with my family and trying to finalize and figure out how I was going to get home, when I was going to get home, how's my kid, all these things. I started thinking about how I had spent a lot of this quarantine searching for a way to connect. And I just started doing these stupid little bad drawings and sending people cards that they didn't ask for. But everybody would say, oh my God, God, that if it was so fun to open that up in the mail, you know, and then the amount of love that I received when I needed it, I was like, holy cow. It didn't take anything from me to do those stupid little things and send them to you guys. But I feel like the energy that I put out that, hey, I'm thinking about you and I care about you, I got it back 100-fold.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know how many people you touched with those. There's not a person that receives that. And if they did, then you can come talk to me. Okay. If you didn't laugh and smile and tear up equally all at once over getting a nice piece of mail that wasn't a bill or some garbage that you don't want to hear from, then again, we need to talk and it needs to be soon. Okay.
You got bigger problems.
Okay.
Well,
I don't even want to do my rant. I don't.
I was going to say.
Let's go into corners. I don't even want to do it. It's too negative and it's not necessary.
Well, here's what I want to say. It is a necessary rant for sure. But I know because we had our digital green room dump before this, it is heavy and it does need to be talked about. And maybe because we're now giggling instead of bawling, maybe we hold it for next week.
Yep.
Does that sound good to you?
That sounds great to me.
Because I like seeing you smile.
Likewise.
Okay, should we move into corners then?
Yes. Oh, I'm going to say one more thing that's fun and positive about special things in the mail. I received something that was so joyful, I can't even tell you. And I am amazed sometimes at things that can legally be shipped through the post office because most things have to come in a tube, an envelope, or a box, right?
Are we talking about weed?
No.
Oh, okay. my brain's racing. What comes in a tube? What comes in my box?
I'll tell you what came in none of those three things.
What?
Was the pinata-gram that was delivered.
I saw that. How stinking adorable.
Is so fun, so cute. My head seriously almost exploded. I walked up from a rage walk, if you can imagine, and I'm like, what the heck? And I see a pinata and it is in a plastic bag and it has a shipping label on the little like cardboard around the body of the pinata. You could totally tell what it was. It's a llama, I believe. And it was addressed to Alan and I. And then on the back, it just says, we love you, Alan and Jessica. Now, of course, I went crazy trying to find who is this from. There's no evidence of who it's from. I did find out the sender, my best friend since first grade, sent it to me. I couldn't believe it. It was so cute. It was from her and her husband. And it is just a pinata. And you open up the back of it and it was filled with candy. You don't have to even bust it open. So I'm absolutely have it out on the shelf because it's so cute. But it was such a happy, unexpected surprise. And it's from a company called Pinata-gram.
I love it. It's so funny too. It's like, what?
Yeah. It was great.
My sister actually received a present from some friends of hers. I'm going to have to, I'll get it before you make the notes for this episode. This company that you can make your own cards, you know, so I would assume it's like a mint or something like that. But they had a card special made for Tiffy, for my baby sister, that was covered in pictures of our mama from like they were able to gather that from her social media and feed it into this card company.
Oh, wow.
And they made this special collage card of my mama for Tiffy and sent it to her. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, that's really special.
Yeah, there's so many ways to show love that really aren't that expensive these days because of our technical age. Like it's really kind of cool. You can't help but be happy when you walk up to your front porch and there's a freaking pinata sitting there.
Exactly.
All you can do is be happy. And then it's got candy in it. Come on.
I know.
And I get a sugar high? Sounds like heaven.
So cute.
Okay. So moving into corners, I have to say, Jessica put together the outline for us this week because I'm still a little bit of a calf who was just born and can't walk. And she did a great job. Okay. Because here we go. Here's my corner. I mean, what kind of corner do we call this?
I think it's a what the what.
A what the what. I think it's definitely a what the what? Feral pigs eat and destroy $22,000 worth of cocaine hidden in an Italian forest. Okay, there are so many things to dissect from that headline that my mind is blown. Like, not least of course, there's a cocaine, there's feral pigs. What the heck is a hidden Italian forest? I want to go there.
I also need to know the difference between a feral pig and a wild boar.
Okay, let's get into the article, y'all. After last year's drug-related murder of a 21-year-old Albanian Italian, police began probing a gang of suspected drug dealers who decided to hide cocaine in Italy's boar-infested countryside. Now, I don't know what kind of idiot doesn't watch horror movies and know that a pig will eat you. A pig will eat you. A pig will stomp you. They are mean and they are strong.
And they're smart as hell.
Yes, they are.
Now, did they just say boar infested?
Yes.
BOAR?
Yes.
Or as the Italians call it, cinghiale.
What?
Cinghiale.
Is that a pasta?
It's wild, the name for wild boar, which is very popular on pasta. My husband has made it before. He actually bought a cooler. He bought a cooler when we were in San Francisco years ago, just specifically to be able to transport fresh wild boar, locally caught, home to LA from the drive from San Francisco so that he could make cinghiale pasta.
Cinghiale, wild boar.
That was a great pronunciation.
Thank you. And it means wild boar?
Yes.
Huh. I'm going to call somebody.
Now you're going to notice it on menus when you go to Italian restaurants.
And I'll know what it means now. Thank you. Hiding a stash of cocaine worth $22,000 in the woods might not have been the dumbest idea the suspected gang of drug dealers came up with, but it was certainly the least effective. According to Newsweek, a horde of wild boars ruthlessly destroyed it with utter indifference. I love how much emotion they're pinning on these wild these cinghiales. This violent reclamation by Mother Nature was discovered after police wiretapped members of the gang and overheard them complaining about the damage to their product. Arresting the 3 Albanian suspects and 1 Italian suspect thereafter was rather swift. According to the local, the animals, which is, I guess, their newspaper, the animals ripped into a sealed package of cocaine and proceeded to litter the nearby woodlands with its powdery contents. How many high forest animals were there? Like, there's a picture here. The cops were already surveilling their suspects, but it was the boars who helped with the final push. Shut up. Look at this picture of these 2 guys. They're like, whoa, what? We're high.
Oh.
Oink, oink.
Are those tusks?
Yeah, because wild boars have tusks. They're mean.
Yeah, I know.
I hope that they had a good disposition when they were high on coke. The drugs originally came from Perugia. Does that sound? Sorry for pronunciation. Before being hidden in the Tuscan forest near Montepulciano.
Montepulciano, maybe?
There's no G in it, but okay. While being peddled around Arezzo, according to Fox News, the gang had been quite prolific before the arrest, selling 2 kilos per month. At between at between $90 and $120 per gram.
We're in the wrong business, sister.
Right. It was the drug-related murder of a 21-year-old Albanian in 2018 that made authorities perk up and take note. A group of Albanian nationals who were linked to the victim quickly became persons of interest. Ultimately, the police were correct in their assumptions. The probe spanned between September 2018 and March 2019. The cops quickly found out that one of the gang members used a nightclub to peddle his wares. Of course, they needed clear evidence to ensure subsequent convictions, which the wiretap seems to have taken care of. As it stands, 2 of the suspects are now under house arrest while the other 2 are in jail. Meanwhile, what happened to the curious animals? That remains unknown. Wild boars or... Oh my God, it's this Chigali!
Yes!
Look!
Oh my God, yes!
Vindication. That's not how I thought it would have been spelled.
Excuse me, no Italian word is as you thought it would be spelled, hence my horrible pronunciation of most of them.
The list, okay, let's see. Wild boars have been increasingly spotted in Italy's countryside. Yeah, they're becoming, they have no known natural enemy except for humans, really.
Yep.
And so their population is out of control. The situation's gotten so bad that farmers protested in Rome this month, demanding the government take action against the encroaching animals. Vehicular accidents, as well as damage to farmlands, have apparently become too much to handle for individual citizens. It's no longer a question of compensation, but a matter of personal safety. So I guess they're working on the pig problem. But I'm like,
they're delicious.
I know. I hate that they're so yummy.
It tastes different than regular pork. I'm serious. Like,
oh, does it?
Just like venison tastes different than cattle and everything else. Yeah.
Oh.
It's good. And because it's a wild animal, it's lean. I know that seems like an oxymoron with anything in the pig family, but they're running around and they're eating natural things. They're not being fed hormones and food that they're not meant to eat and all that jazz.
No. And they're all muscle. Like, it's crazy. Oh my God. Listen to this. Italy's wild boar population of 2 million.
Excuse me?
Oh, I'm not done. Has doubled since 2015.
When Alan hears this, he might tell me he's moving to Italy.
Right? He could just scoop them up in nets.
He will become a cinghiale bounty hunter and be very happy about it.
Cinghiale bounty hunter. It says that they cause or affect 10,000 road accidents per year.
Whoa.
Yeah. I know in Hawaii, it's a real big problem, and they're destroying people's property, like their houses and their barns and farmland and things. They're very destructive. Now, imagine that destructive animal on coke.
No. No, thank you.
I mean, that's crazy.
Gives them even more energy.
Right?
God.
I mean, it's got to fuel their rage.
4 million, that could feed the world.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of weird. Well, that's my corner.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay. Mine is, the more I think about it, maybe a little weird, but guess what? I only mean weird that you're going to have to try to picture what I'm saying. But again, you can look us up on social media and you can see some of these delightful photos.
Yes.
So this is restaurant fails, baffling restaurant fails that are making customers walk out the door. You want to know why? Because they're weird.
Oh.
You're weird. You're so very weird. Why must you make your restaurant weird?
I was like, what's up? Oh, I'm on board.
Okay, I don't even know where to begin with this. Okay, the first one is, imagine waiting 45 minutes for your $13 bar food appetizer to show up. No. And it's not only cold, but it's 8 wontons vice gripped to a clothesline.
Wait, what? Shut up.
And it's literally with like something you'd find in your dad's work shed. Okay.
I mean, it's definitely like a hardcore office supply or Harbor Freight purchase.
This one is going to make you so angry. Dana, your head's going to spin. It's so inappropriate. It's so gross. Slurpee. But, not the kind that you're picturing from 7-Eleven. Oh. Stick out your hand. Hope you washed it. I'm going to squirt a bunch of condiments on there and you can lick them off. Were apparently the chef's instructions at the most expensive restaurant this person has ever visited.
Wait a minute. What?
Yep. They served the dish in someone's palm, probably tableside service. Well, that's fine for a bowl of guacamole at El Torito.
Wait, I have to ask a serious question. If I were at this restaurant, do you deliver that to me in your hand and I eat it off of you?
No, I think that you put out your hand and the server would put a few dollops in your hand and then tell you to slurp away.
No. Absolutely not. If I am paying for this food, you better put it on a dish.
It also better be more than a pile of condiments. And you're hearing from the condiment hoe. Yeah, nobody loves condiments more than me. Nobody.
Oh, I love a sauce. I love a dip. I love it all, but not out of my hand.
No, this one is just so dumb, it's hard to believe. Crunch, crunch. When the server sat down this plate of arancini, now this is
What
just
is that?
kismet. That's another Italian dish. Arancini means little oranges. Oh my God, Alan makes them every year for Christmas. It's a fried rice ball filled with cheese.
Ooh.
They are so good.
Why are they
Sometimes
called arancini?
arancini, because
not
when they're
orange?
fried, yeah, they look like little oranges. Now, I don't know what that green
What's that
goo
green
is.
is?
I guess they were trying to make it look like an orange leaf. Nice try.
It looks like those yucky Halloween pumpkin candies
Yes,
that are like
yes.
candy corn, but
Yes.
they're pumpkin. Blech.
So gross.
Yeah.
These were served on a pool of rocks, and when the server sat it down, told the patrons make sure not to eat the rocks. Again, fried rice balls in a bowl filled with river stones.
Those are straight up river stones. I put some of those in my plants out back.
Okay, there's a lot of these. I'm only going to read a few more, but Dana, you better hold on to your hat.
Uh-oh.
This one is called Too Far. Ladies and gentlemen, today's chef special is Eggs Benedict without the English muffin, served in a milkshake glass.
What?
It's all the ingredients that go in a Benedict, but served in a milkshake sized tumbler with a long parfait spoon.
Why?
And no English muffin, which is half the Benedict. That's what it's served on.
Exactly. That's insane. And how much did that cost? It probably doesn't say.
None of these have prices. Oh my God. The phrase shoveling food down takes on a whole new meaning at this breakfast place. Food itself served on a legit garden shovel.
No, ma'am.
Why?
No, that's not cute. That's not cute. That's a danger to the person sitting on your left is what it is. That's ridiculous.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more. This is definitely probably the weirdest, and I don't even understand anything about it. This is called dinner bell. It's some kind of beef hung on this bell, and it is a big brass bell with some kind of unknown mystery meat hung from the bell on your table. Okay.
It's not even pretty. It's not even hung. It looks like I threw a hunk of meat across a room at some rich person's house.
Yes.
At a Liberty Bell statue on their mantle.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to give one more, but I'm going to tell you something about that bell also. There is a place in Atlanta, Georgia, where I grew up called Buffalo's.
Okay.
I have a lot of anger about Buffalo's because when my mom would take my brother and I to like movie and a dinner once a month, we got to pick where we wanted to eat. It was always a vote, majority rules. My mom and my brother always voted for Buffalo's because they love wings. I hate wings. I digress. Buffalo's had the ass of a buffalo hanging on the wall. Okay.
No.
Yes.
In their eating establishment?
Yes, they had a big buffalo head too, but they had the butt of a buffalo hanging on the wall. And when you ordered their dessert that was so good, it was called a buffalo chip. It was the biggest chocolate chip cookie you've ever seen. It was so good. And it was in a bowl of delicious vanilla ice cream covered in their homemade hot fudge, cinnamon covered nuts, and I don't even know what else. It was to die for. But when somebody ordered it, they would say, "One buffalo chip," and the buffalo ass moved, the tail moved, and thank God you didn't see anything, but you heard a boing, and it rung a bell as though the buffalo shat out your dessert.
I'm not happy about this. I'm also so mad that they yelled at like electric company, or like from Goonies. I love you, Chunk. What does he yell out? Hey, you guys! That's from electric company, right? I'm so mad that they yell that out when they pretend that a buffalo pooped out your dessert.
It is not okay. And I'm telling you, I can see that tail moving and I can hear that boing.
No.
Yep. And then they brought it over to the table. Okay. To bring us back from that horror, I'm going to leave you with this last one. Dana, this one I think might make me the angriest of all of them.
Okay.
What in the Nashville? Pasta in a guitar case. That's what's been missing from our gastronomic bingo board. It is a guitar case filled with pasta. I need to know why right now.
Please tell me, is it a mini guitar case?
You know what? I don't know.
There's nothing there for spatial relation.
That remains to be seen. I know there's no dime next to it for scale.
No, because if it's the size of a real guitar, that would feed a family of 50.
It's like the southern version of Buca de Beppo.
But they're Italian take.
I mean, that is not okay.
No.
Oh,
also,
God.
I have a guitar. My guitar case has velvet inside. I don't want to eat pasta out of that.
And how are you going to clean out that velvet afterwards?
Right? That's disgusting.
God. Some things are just so...
Why do we have to have cute things? Remember our friend David said he went to this super fancy restaurant in Europe, and they always have a goldfish in a blender on the center of the table, and it's kind of up to you whether or not you want to swallow or blend the goldfish.
No.
Like, that's crazy to me.
Okay.
Why do we have to do wackadoo stuff with our food?
I don't know, but I have a huge problem with that. And that's so weird that you say that, because when I was in college, we did this thing called guerrilla theater. It was once a month, and anyone on our campus, it was University of Alabama, we had a huge dance and theater department, but there was people, obviously there's creatives and people that do stuff as a hobby that are in all lines of work. So anyone on campus could sign up for a slot. We had 20 slots for guerrilla theater. I think it was like a 2-hour thing, if I remember correctly. So somebody who's in the business school might take their hand at stand-up, or somebody that, you know, is in communications and decided to sing a song from Phantom of the Opera, whatever. We had some weird ass group, and yeah, I am judging, of people. I don't know where they came from on our campus, but they did performance art. Not a fan of performance art. Gonna let that be known. I know that's real judgy of me, and I'm gonna tell you why. They projected like imagery of old war footage, black and white war footage behind them. They had like 8 people on stage. 2 of them were like playing chess and not talk. Nobody was talking. It was all weird, right? 2 people are playing chess, 2 people are doing that and all that. Then there was a blender on stage. There was a fish bowl with a fish in it with water, and there was a can of Pepsi, and they poured the can of Pepsi into the blender and then put the goldfish in it and then turned on the blender.
No.
I'm not kidding you when I tell you that everyone in the audience screamed louder than you could imagine in your life. The person in the light booth was so disoriented. It was one of my friends. He didn't know what to do other than to just cut the power to like not give them power. But then people started to flip out because now the theater, and it was a big theater, was completely dark. People were screaming, freaking out. Let me get the fuck out of here. All this. It was horrifying. I know that's a really weird, long story, but when you just said that they have a goldfish in a blender, I'm horrified by that.
Yeah, I can't handle that. I don't know.
That image is burned into my mind forever, and it was completely senseless. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you were
I had a huge problem with that. Yes, it was.
Everyone who saw that was traumatized.
They killed a living thing
in front of you.
In the name of art. That's why I hate performance art. Okay. And I'm not saying that's what all performance art is. I'm just telling you the thing that sticks out in my mind. Okay.
That's horrible.
Yes.
I hope they were not allowed to come back or perform.
No, never.
Ugh. What was their point? What message?
I would love to know. Would love to know. I kind of saw like, oh, the chess. Okay, checkmate. The war footage. I guess I vaguely know what you're going for. But then it was just like, I think because somebody did try to find out from them why the hell they did it. I think they said it was something to do with like commercialism or consumerism. I don't know. Some BS answer.
I was going to say, well, maybe they thought that's the thing, though. People do shocking things and expect everybody else to find the importance in it. But I was like, well, maybe they're showing, war is just a game, but it's senseless murder, whatever. Right. But I don't care what your message is. Don't kill anything or anyone.
Yes.
To promote your message.
I couldn't agree more.
That's horrifying.
It is.
I don't know why we're talking about that now.
I don't either. Sorry.
No, I started it. Well, we should wait.
We're going to
You
move
haven't
into
done
our raves. Yes.
And I'm up first, right?
Yes.
Okay, so my rave is so beautiful. Also, I just want to say, for as much turmoil as the human population is in right now, and our planet and everything else, there's also a lot of really wonderful things going on. So this is from CNN by Ala Elisar, from today, the article that we're referencing from CNN.com. This Alaskan man, by the way, adorable, is making a 14-hour boat trip to Costco every week to supply his city with groceries amid the pandemic.
Love him.
Love him. The first sentence of this article, I like it. Usually stuff like this annoys me, but I like that it's such a good news story. Now that's one hell of a Costco run. A grocer in a remote Alaskan region that's only accessible by boat or plane is going above and beyond to keep his small city fed during the coronavirus pandemic. Toshua. His name's Toshua. That's interesting. I like that. Toshua Parker, owner of Icy Strait Wholesale in Gustavus, has been making a weekly boat trip with his staff to Juneau, the state's capital, 50 miles away, to restock on essential food and supplies at Costco. It takes them about 14 hours to complete the journey on a 96 feet long converted military landing craft.
Wow.
That's serious. Gustavus is a coastal community that borders Glacier Bay National Park. For the city's 450 residents, the only place to buy groceries is Toshco, the locals' nickname for Parker's store. Parker usually has food and supplies shipped from Costco to his store aboard the state's ferry system, but it's no longer running to Gustavus because of the pandemic, as well as damage caused to the city's dock by severe storms. Without an alternative delivery method and his city quickly running short on food and supplies, Parker decided to take the matter into his own hands. Quote, "It's funny because for us, this doesn't seem like a big deal," the small business owner told CNN. "Alaskans are fiercely independent and resourceful. You really have to be to survive here." Oh, you really have to be to survive here. So when a problem arises, we don't typically look to someone else for help. We just find a way to do it. Working with his employees and local fishermen, Parker has been making the boat trip about once a week since March, scheduling his trips around the tides and weather. The story first was reported by The Hustle. After docking in Juneau, they buy supplies from Costco and load them on the boat. When storms hit while the team is on their way back to Gustavus, which has happened a few times, they return to Juneau, unload the groceries into coolers, and wait for the next weather break before reloading the supplies and attempting the trip again. While Gustavus's community has been incredibly grateful for Parker's efforts to keep the city running, he gives the real praise to his staff for going to work every day during this pandemic to make sure that our town always stays supplied. No matter the obstacles, Parker said his city will always find a way to survive. The town needed to be supplied with groceries, so we just did whatever it took to make that happen. Just another day in our world. Next year, it'll be another obstacle to overcome, and we'll buck up and we'll deal with it.
Aww.
I love that.
So awesome.
I mean, look at how cute he is. Him and his wife, they run the Icy Strait Wholesale in Gustavus, Alaska. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, like a
Loading and
14-hour trip is a lot to do once in a blue moon, let alone
all the time.
And on a boat?
On a boat, trying to avoid storms. Like hearing that sometimes they had to go back, unpack into coolers, and reload. Come on.
It is also, it's funny because I was talking about this earlier. It makes me very nostalgic for one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Northern Exposure.
Do you know I never watched that show?
I love it. And it was set in it. Excuse me, your television father
My dad was
is
in it,
one
right?
of the main characters.
Yeah.
His name was Maurice, Barry Corbin. One of my favorites.
I love me some Barry.
It's such a good show. It's a very slow show. And I don't mean boring, but it's not, there's no bells and whistles. It's about a guy who graduates from Columbia Medical School, Dr. Joel Fleischman, and he gets sent to do his time as a doctor in this tiny town in Alaska to pay off his medical school loans.
Okay.
It's so good. And Barry Corbin plays an ex-NASA astronaut who's was filthy rich and retired there. But there's a lady named Ruth who runs a little general store in town, which is the only place you can get food and provisions.
Okay. That was
I
on
love it.
for several seasons, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was on Monday nights, and I'm telling you, I lived for that show. Oh, God. It was on in the early 90s. God, I loved it so much.
Oh, wow. I bet you can watch it on Hulu or something now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well,
I have.
thank you, Tashawa, for what you've done
Yes.
for your community. That's pretty darn incredible.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, my rave for this week is an organization that has been around for quite some time, but it's still very relevant. And it came up again this week because I saw a lot of different people posting places to get active with, involved with, donate to, and all of that. And it's really close to my heart because my dad used to be on the board for this in his local chapter for the National Urban League.
Okay.
And my dad has been in executive search for his whole career. My dad was a headhunter, is the way to put it. My dad would find the right people for jobs, right? He would get hired, say, from a bank, and they're like, find us a new vice president. So my dad literally traveled all over the world for years finding and interviewing candidates. And my dad used to be very active with a homeless shelter and program called Camilla's House in Miami. And therefore, he started getting involved with a bunch of groups. And my dad was hired to find a new director for the National Urban League.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it was really cool. My dad did find the candidate that they placed at the time, and they made my dad a board member. And it was something that was very fulfilling to him. And we talked about it a lot this week. So I thought this is perfect timing. So the National Urban League works to enable African Americans and other underserved urban residents to secure economic self-reliance, parity, power, and civil rights through support in education, labor, housing, health, and justice. Their website is www.nul.org. And I'm just going to read to you a couple of tenets, if you will, of what the Urban League is founded on. Education, our vision. Every American child is ready for college, work, and life. This summer, the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle will be bringing back Summer University thanks to new funding from Google. The program enhances the Urban League's STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math curriculum and supports high school students with additional barriers to graduation. Jobs, our vision. Every American has access to jobs with a living wage and good benefits. Housing, our vision. Every American lives in safe, decent, affordable, and energy efficient housing on fair terms. Health, our vision. Every American has access to quality and affordable healthcare solutions. The spread of COVID-19 coronavirus threatens communities across the country and millions of people around the globe. The National Urban League encourages everyone to practice all preventative measures. Justice, our vision. Every American has an equal right and responsibility to fully participate in our democracy and civic processes, and all people have a right to justice and fairness.
Yes.
So, again, I'm not trying to preach to anyone, but there's nothing but good things can come from what this organization strives to do. And if you notice, they believe, as do we, that every American has a right to basic things in life: education, health, jobs, and housing. Everyone. Equality for everyone. So they have league affiliates all over the country. So I would say check them out, put in your zip code, see what they have going on in their area. They may also, a lot of times when you look up things like this, you could see that someone's giving a talk somewhere, or a lot of times now they're doing amazing things over Zoom where they're having speakers, and it is incredible to get to see that kind of stuff when it's offered for you in your community. So
absolutely.
Thank you to all of the people that work for the Urban League and for the services that they provide to people around the country.
Definitely. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Jessica.
Dana.
I think that's our show.
I think it's our longest show.
Long show. I think we needed a warm up. We needed to ease people back in, maybe.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I have enjoyed my time with you. One more thing, I feel like I was thinking as you were reading that, I was like, gosh, we are covering so many bases. Like we've talked about mental health, about civil unrest, about all these different pandemic things like this. One more thing I just thought of that I want to mention
Yes.
because I was like, wait, this didn't come up. There has been an uptick in domestic violence because we have been quarantined. So if you are in need of help because you're a victim of domestic violence, be it your spouse, a parent, whatever, we also would be more than happy to find resources for you for that as well.
Yes. And really I wouldn't ever dare be like, oh, contact us. Dana and I are not experts on any of this, but I will tell you that I have worked with domestic violence advocates specifically through my work as an actor for the police for the last 20 years. And I have some people that I am very close with and very dear to me in this life. One of them is like kind of the most famous advocate in the country who did an amazing documentary for HBO called Private Violence. If you need help, reach out because at the very least, I could find somewhere for you very quickly in your town, even a tiny town where you think there's nothing out here. I know people that work for this. They've spent their life dedicated to this, and I would love to help anyone in any way that I can.
Absolutely.
By putting you in touch with the right resources.
Absolutely. Let me make something very clear. I know nothing about anything, but what's cool about me is I have a lot of really awesome friends who do know things about everything. I may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, and I may not have a ton of information, but I got resources.
That's right.
So we can find you help.
Yes.
We don't put ourselves out there as like someone who can actually help you, but we can help find help for you and would be happy to do so.
And I really am glad that you brought that up, Dana, because it is a huge thing.
Along with all the other shit going on in our world, this is something that's come up and had to be mentioned. So, Jessica, I love you.
I love you.
Do you want to tell people how they can get a hold of us if they're so inclined to tell us?
Sure.
Hey, maybe not a 5-hour episode when you first come back, Dana and Jessica.
I mean, if you don't start following us now so you can see those food platings, then you're really missing out. You're lost.
Yes, you're lost.
On Instagram and Facebook, please find us at the Rants and Raves podcast. On Twitter at raves_the. You can email us at the Rants and Raves podcast at gmail.com. Also through the contact button on our website, www.therantsandravespodcast.com.
Yes.
Yes.
Usually at the end of the show, I have a weekly point to ponder, something fun I'm watching on the internet or doing or seeing, or some interesting fact. I didn't come prepared with anything today because all I want to leave you guys with is I love you all. And this show has been, I've said it a million times, such a blessing to me. But the number of people who reached out in love in a time of deep, deep sorrow for me was mind-blowing. And I know that's because we don't know. Most of us have never met. I feel such a connection to everyone that listens to us. We don't have a huge following, but our people are ride or die, man.
Yeah.
They love us and they support us, and I feel exactly the same. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for our listeners. I'm grateful for our show. And I hope that in the coming year, we can do even more to promote goodness in our world because it is there. It is. We just have to help bring it to the surface right now.
Yes.
And it's not easy, and we don't have to do it alone. So that's kind of all I got, I think.
That's perfect.
All right. We'll be back again next week. I would like to say this will come out on Tuesday. The next new episode, I'm going to try and record with Jessica before I am going to be heading out to Chicago. Please send my family some good energy. I know I've asked for a lot lately, but just one more. So we'll keep you informed. Hopefully we'll get a new episode out. And once we get my daddy through this and everything's all right, we're going to be back on it because this is a passion project for me. I love it. And I love what we're doing and I love our listeners. And I guess I should shut up now.
No, absolutely. And everyone just, we're not going anywhere. But yes, family
Be
and
patient for
friends
a
are the
minute.
most important thing in life. And I'm sure you can all agree to that. So, whatever time needs to be taken to attend to the people that matter the most in our life is what will happen. And then we will be back when we're back.
Yes. I'm hoping that we will be back with happy news and
Hmm.
off and running with some fun and laughter.
Yes.
I sure didn't think we were going to laugh as much as we did today.
I didn't either.
It's lovely.
But thank you for that, because honestly, I needed it.
Good. So did I.
I
And
really did.
hopefully there's a couple of you like in your car or hiding in your bathroom that got a smile too. So we love you
Exactly.
guys. We'll be back soon. Thank you for your patience and for sticking this out. You're never alone. Don't forget that. We will get through this together.
Yes.
And bye.
Bye.